Welcome to our program, Coach-to-Coach. Today's guest is Roxana Popet. Roxana is a globally recognized fear specialist, motivational speaker, and transformational coach who has empowered thousands to overcome fear and step into their highest potential. With a unique blend of NLP, mindset training, and action-based strategies, Roxana helps individuals break free from self-sabotage and live boldly. Through her international workshops, online programs, and fearless leadership, Roxana is on a mission to turn fear into freedom, one person at a time. Roxana and I first met on Anka Herman's Facebook group, Don't Just Learn, Create, a little over 4 years ago. And at that time, I was a guest on Roxana's podcast. And now here we are 4 years later, and I have the pleasure of welcoming Roxana to Coach as my guest. Thanks for joining us today, Roxana. It's so nice to see you.
Thank you, Greg. What a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. So the way I like to start these is to ask, what first sparked your interest in coaching?
Let's make it long story short because it is quite a story to tell. I had a heart disease in
Mm,
my mid 20s, and I was basically forced to quit my career, which I was hating so much at the time. I knew I had to make some changes, but I was too afraid. And I began hating myself even more. And at one point, I have tried basically everything, or so I thought, until I heard a friend mention neurolinguistic programming. And it sounded like woohoo magic stuff. I thought it was silly, that it doesn't make any sense. But thank God, I think it took her 5 months to convince me to attend a workshop here in Timișoara in my local hometown. And ever since, I discovered that, hey, I'm not a victim. I can truly make changes and make those choices consciously so that I can live a really happy, fulfilled life. So ever since, I was not a translator anymore. I was doing all of the trainings, all of the certifications to become an NLP trainer and a fear specialist, and it has been the best choice of my life, Greg. It has been phenomenal.
mm, I love it. Yeah, I mean the way you tell that story and the result of it reminds me of what I often hear from a lot of coaches is something truly that seemed negative, heart disease, obviously, like you wouldn't wish that on anybody, but the gift that that gave you is what's kind of blossomed into this whole career and in life that you now enjoy. So it's uh, it's a great way of looking at it. So you mentioned NLP, neuro linguistic programming, which ironically, it's NLP is kind of what the first breadcrumb that got me in this direction
Oh,
as well.
okay.
So I'm interested to hear about your practice. You mentioned fear, and in the intro, I called you a fear specialist. So I'm just curious about your practice, how you're working, who you're working with, like if you have a niche or any of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm really curious to hear how you approach the world of fear.
Thank you so much for asking, Greg. It's a pretty new field as a fear specialist.
Mm,
I could be one of the few that is so specialized in fear and stress at the office because I was in a position where I felt sick to my stomach to even consider going inside the office building where I was working, if you can imagine that.
mm,
And on the outside, I was looking so happy, so fulfilled, like everything's going on for me. I have the best life possible. But inside, I was literally dying, slowly fading away.
mm,
So, as I was observing myself and as I began observing my colleagues when I started the NLP practice, I see that there's so much fear in expressing ourselves at the office at work. So that's why I pretty much began niching with busy professionals, which is in a way an irony because all of the professionals nowadays are busy. So we are all overachievers. I have not seen, Greg, not one person yet who'd say, I'm such a calm person at the office, I'm taking it slow, I don't want to get too many things done. So it's me instilling in people fear-free culture at the office. So it's mainly people accepting their fears, Greg. This is what it's all about. We think that being afraid in the work environment is such a shameful thing. We could appear weak, we could appear that we are not trustworthy, we could be seen as not professional. And we are just so caught up in this identity at work. We sometimes, if someone asks us, Greg, what do you do? You are kind of sometimes, you want to say your profession. It's that important to us. It's such a big part of who we are. So, us being honest about our fears and our stress at work seems like two different things. And I come and teach people that, hey, you can express yourself, you can really understand fear by just questioning it. So, what I do, I go into offices. I have two big teams, one in the USA and one here in Europe, that I go and we take real case scenarios. We work on their marketing material and we ask questions. We are thinking, how would my potential client feel if they would not have any fear or stress in making choices? If there's a conflict at work, because my team in the USA, of course, people are moving, new people are coming in, they have all sorts of collaborators. We simply need to take the lesson from fear and stress, which means that we are starting to look at them as normal. Greg, it's normalcy. We are emotional creatures. It's not like you can leave Greg, that's the professional, at work, and then when you're home, you're a different person. No, it's still you. It's the same person. So we question fear. One of the best questions that I advise you, Greg, to please put it in practice, and our audience for today as well, is why am I afraid? As simple as that. Why am I stressed? And please take 5 minutes, not more, a pen, a piece of paper, a notebook, a sticky note, anything. It helps so much with using your hands. Because of course our hands are tightly connected to our mind. Once you start putting things down, you basically take the download, you get the stress from your mind, you put it in the piece of paper, you see it black on white, and then you are going to start looking for solutions. This very simple question, why, is what kids use. And you'd be thinking, is it this what it's, is it all, is this everything? Mostly yes, because when you start questioning it, Greg, your mind becomes rational. When you're rational, you are no longer fearful. Stress melts away completely. So it's you simply understanding, one, it's normal to feel fear, especially at work, because you're challenging yourself so much. You have so many exterior factors that you can never control. It's not under your control. It's normal to feel the way that you do, and then take it a new level, another level, and just question it. Why am I afraid? Put it down on a piece of paper, and once you are aware of the thing that keeps you stressed, it disappears, and more than that, it turns into solutions.
I love that. Yeah, I was going through your book that you shared with me, your ebook. Remind me of the title of it, Fearless 50
For
Powerful
busy
Exercises.
professionals.
Yeah.
Yes,
And I mean, they're all very, each of the 50 exercises is slightly different from the last one, but it has the same theme of, naming your fear, and questioning your fear, and basically like playing with it. Like and when you do that, like you said, it takes it out of your brain and puts it out here where you can look at it from different angles, and it immediately changes, and your relationship to it starts changing. So I love that.
exactly, Greg. And you said a magical word just now, play. Because the most amazing thing about our mind is that it's not physical, it's not material.
Yeah.
So obvious, right? So then, what you put in your mind is a matter of a conscious choice once you eliminate what you no longer want to have there anymore.
Mm,
Once you understand this and once you start practicing, and I'm so happy you got a chance to look through those exercises,
mm,
you'll see that in a matter of about 2 weeks, you will no longer feel stress anymore.
mm.
It's just a pattern that we used to see around us. We are used to calling ourselves stressed. That's a prettier name for fear that we have all agreed in a national way that yeah, let's be stressed, not fearful, because maybe fearful sounds a bit more weak.
Yeah,
So once you start practicing this, Greg, it's truly incredible how the
yeah,
mind gets to be so receptive to feeling good again.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting. My own experience when I ended my corporate career, I had a belief that I welcomed stress. I love stress. Like I thought I needed stress to um, to push me, to make me better, to living on the that edge. I thought that was an important place to be. And about 3 or 4 weeks after I stopped working, my system finally figured out, okay, we don't have to operate like this anymore. And then and it all kind of slipped away. And that's when I realized how stressed out I'd been for so many years. And and now the work I do now, I can see how much um, the quality of my work, the fulfillment I get from my work, and it's stress free. It's working from clarity and not stress is a way better uh, and stronger position to be operating from, hands down. So I love that.
I love this for you, Greg. It's amazing that you are in this coaching area as well. So you got to practice on you
Mm,
what you're teaching others,
exactly.
which is obvious. It's normal that you would do this.
Yeah.
So so
Yeah.
happy for you.
Yeah. Thank you. I wonder if you could share one or two examples of how uh, your work has helped other people, or even a personal story of overcoming fear and what the impact has been on people's lives.
I have been working with so many types of individuals, not only from office, but people come to me with all sorts of fears that are not necessarily work related, of course. As we said earlier, it's you, Greg,
Mm,
you at home, you at the office, you working, it's the same person. One of the most amazing cases, let me think of one. I think I'll just share my case, just so that I can, in a way, keep the privacy of
sure.
my clients' issues as well. It was me conquering this fear with dying, fear of not being able to cure this heart disease.
Mm,
And I remember I was in the city center going to take my medicine, the exact type that my grandmother would take for her heart condition. And I thought, well, I don't think I'm going to get to my 40s if I continue like this, if I change nothing. And I felt so panicked that I was literally willing to do anything. But, Greg, at the same time, when that friend of mine that I told you earlier about, when she came to me, I thought she was crazy. I thought she wanted to fool me with some to. I thought she would be mocking me. I mean, she told me about her curing breast cancer because she had so much guilt because a
mm,
cousin of hers died. He was really young. He had a car crash, and it was just awful, brutal. And she thought she was guilty for it.
mm,
It doesn't make any sense, but this is how the mind interprets the
yeah.
the grief and the experience around us. So what I did was to journal. I began journaling. I didn't have too much knowledge about NLP even
Mm,
after I began doing some courses, some workshops, and I began thinking, okay, what's on my heart? Because I was taught at the training that each organ that you have an issue with, has some stored emotions that you could not process on the spot, which is normal, Greg.
Mm,
Again, we do not have the capacity to work with strong emotions on the spot.
mm,
Maybe in a few tens of years after doing pretty much the same thing over and over again, we can do this naturally. But we have a threshold of pain in our mind that prevents us from going too deep. So, with the knowledge I had back then, I began starting to get the things that I felt were on my heart,
mm,
getting them off of my chest. And I remember leaving the office and I felt like I could breathe better.
mm,
I had such an incredible epiphany. It felt like, wow, what has happened? It felt like I reached a new timeline, started a new life,
mm,
rebirthed something very deep. And I thought, wow, I just need to continue with doing this.
mm,
And the more that I began working on myself, the lighter I felt, the more confident, the younger I felt.
mm,
My entire face, my entire body started to change. I felt like, wow, I must have gotten to some magic stuff here.
mm,
So I began looking at all of this as such incredible power that we have within.
mm,
Greg, we are just so immensely, we just don't have any limits.
mm.
What do you think about this?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Only the ones that we think we have.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm. Well, and I loved the language you used to describe, things being on your heart and getting things off your chest. And like there's a very, even though it's a metaphorical kind of image that people use, but quite literally,
Yeah.
our system treats it that way as a weight. And when you see through it and see it differently, um, it goes away. So I love
And you know this better than anyone. The words that we use truly set up the way we experience life.
mm,
So the more you collaborate with yourself, the more you appreciate everything that you've done. And as a small explanation about the biggest fear that I had,
mm,
I don't think you can guess it. It's not what people think. It's not fear of being in front of other people. It was fear of what others thought, in my case, if I gave my job away. That
mm,
was a pretty decent position. I had a team already. I was managing freelancers. I had a steady paycheck. It was nice, a lot of benefits. So I thought that I would be seen as the laughing stock of the country, of the world, if I let go of this job.
mm,
What other people think.
yeah,
This was the biggest fear of them all.
mm,
And I began shifting it. What do I think about it?
mm,
This is
yeah,
the cure to any type of fear that involves other people's opinions, thoughts, which we all know that can we ever control? Never.
never.
We only think that people think about us in a certain way, but it's never like that.
Yeah,
It's what we think. So always bring it back to you, Greg.
mm,
Always try to ask yourself, hey, what do I think about it? Instead of letting others' opinions of you paralyze your decision making.
mm, yeah, so powerful. One of the insights I had around fear probably 6 months ago or so was in the work I do. I'd say most people don't name what they're taught, what they've come to me for, what they want to work on as fear. But when we boil it all down, it seems to me that in most cases it's fear. In one everything is one flavor or another of fear that people are working on. So I love that you're kind of like going right to the root of it and naming it. And there's a story I like telling. I was in London 2 years ago for a weekend training thing, at the end of a 1 year program I was on. And I got there a day early, and the first day of the program was still online, so I was going to do the Zoom call from my hotel. And a guy that I'd been working with, he'd been coaching me, and we'd become quite good friends. He said, "Well, why don't you come to my house for that first day?" And it was about a 45-minute train ride out of London. Uh, and he goes, if you're jet lagged or whatever, I'll understand. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go get some groceries at the store, and I'll come back and I'll let you know. And as I'm walking there to the store and back, I was thinking, and my initial position was, no, I'm not going. And when I started thinking about why is my immediate reaction no? And it's like, well, I'm afraid of how am I going to get there? Um, you know, what if when we meet in person, this virtual relationship is somehow changed? What food are they going to serve me? Because I'm kind of a picky eater, so I don't want to like embarrass myself or make them feel uncomfortable. Anyway, all these things, and what occurred to me while I was walking and thinking about this was it like, oh well, that's just fear, and that's just fear. Like every single thing I could think of when I boiled it down, it was just one different fear after another. And by the time I got back to my hotel, I decided, you know what? Forget fear. I'm doing it. So I phoned him and said, I'll be there in the morning. And I went, and it was actually the highlight of my trip. I got to meet him and his wife and his daughter, spend some quality time with him. And um, when I look back on it now, I realize how much I would have regretted had I given into the fear and not gone. So it's,
Wow. Greg, love this for you. You said two amazing things.
mm,
First of all, that your first immediate response would have been a no, just because the mind is negative by default, Greg.
mm,
And there's nothing that we can do about it unless just be really cautious and careful and conscious
mm,
when we make a choice. So I'm so happy for you that you went there. And another important thing is that regret is stronger
mm,
and it stings more than fear ever will.
mm,
Because fear usually happens when you're about to,
yeah,
but regret could stay forever.
yeah,
And this is a thing that we sometimes not think about enough because I too have had amazing opportunities a few decades ago and I
mm,
didn't take them just because I was afraid. And I'm still thinking, what if?
yeah,
This what if is awful. So
yeah,
I'd say do it now, Greg.
yeah,
Think about it later because even when we make a mistake, and sometimes we do make some costly mistakes,
yeah,
but you get the lesson. So it's life at its finest. We never lose. It's always win win. There's no losing when you
mm,
just question the outcome and get the lesson.
mm,
What am I learning from this? As simple as that. So we have why. Why am I afraid?
yeah,
And then when you make a mistake or you're thinking of something negative that happened in the past, what am I learning now?
mm,
And it transforms the perspective that you were looking towards that past event.
yeah.
It's truly incredible.
I
So
love that.
please put this in practice, you and our audience. It is mind-blowing to
Yeah,
say the least.
I love it. Another question that comes to mind is I'm curious how what you've learned and what you do with your clients, how does that inform uh, your role as a parent? And I think for me, like when I think of my kids, um, one of the things I hope for them is that things that I've learned and that I'm modeling for them becomes part of who they are and how they show up in the world and how they approach and handle situations. I'm just curious for you as a parent how your work kind of blends into that part of your life.
It is extremely and very difficult.
Mm.
I want to be very honest with you, not sugarcoating anything. As a woman that gets to travel, I've been 4 times in the USA last year, one
Mm.
time in Switzerland. I'm about to travel again. I already have 3 USA trips set up, and it's not even the beginning of the year. We haven't
Mm.
even started the year properly. I'm leaving to Bucharest for a training next week. It's so difficult because my daughter, she's only 5 years and a half.
Mm.
She is dependent on me. She is asking about mom all the time.
Mm,
So it's me putting myself first, me learning to be very selfish, which to me, and I always teach my clients this, hey, unless you prioritize yourself, unless you put yourself first, before wife, husband, kids, parents, family, friends, you will never be happy because
mm,
us human beings, we tend to take advantage, and I'm using these commas,
yeah.
take advantage because this is how the human nature works. If you don't make the choices, others will make those choices for you.
Mm,
And I'm way more happier to be on my own, to be working on my own, although it's extremely difficult in all ways that you can imagine,
yeah.
than being employed,
Mm,
having a 9 to 5. I was employed for 8 years and a half. I learned a lot, but I was miserable.
mm,
I always had this need, this urge to do things, to impact people, to see the look on their face when I ask them questions, to see how they transform.
mm, yeah.
So that makes me so happy. That makes me a better mom, a better friend, spouse, daughter, family member, and so on. So I'm prioritizing myself. I'm putting myself up on a pedestal.
Mm,
Being selfish is normal and natural, Greg. So
mm,
please always do this for you.
yeah.
No one will take more care of you than you.
Yeah.
And we can never help others from an empty bag, can we?
No.
So, as difficult as it is, seeing my daughter crying and just being so upset that I'm about to leave.
Yeah.
She sees me packing things. She just goes crazy. She has tantrums, and it's understandable. Can you blame her?
No.
No. And it's difficult for me. It's so difficult for me to see her doing this.
Yeah.
But regret, Greg.
Mm,
I'm thinking if I don't go, if I don't take this training, if I don't go and work with my teams, will I be happier to be with her, to be away from her, maybe just a few days a week or two?
yeah.
Will this make me a better person? And the answer is always yes, I'll be better for her because
Mm,
I call her, she sees me. This is my work instead of her seeing me just a few hours in the evening because I would be home maybe at
yeah.
7 or 8 p.m. if I would have been employed. So,
Yeah.
as a woman in this working field, it is so tough.
Yeah.
But my kind advice, if I can offer any advice, is for women to prioritize themselves
Mm,
fully, to be not selfish, but extremely selfish with your time, with who you spend your 5 minutes at a coffee break with.
mm,
Be so mindful to always invest in you because time flies.
mm,
It's 2026. It's like my mind somehow is stuck in 2006. Like 20 years have gone
yeah.
by so quick, and I have no idea how time is just making us be wiser and at the same time regretful. I
Yeah.
do have my regrets, as I told you, but luckily I'm still working on them. It's a
Yeah.
work in progress.
Mm,
So let's be mindful, Greg, to
yeah.
put ourselves first and to admit to ourselves, hey, I'm having a tough time. I need help.
Mm,
I myself have coaches as well because, like I told you earlier, this threshold of pain, of mental pain that we have, that I have, does not allow me to go deeper
mm,
into some choices that I know that I need to make. But I'm having some issues with seeing the outcome. I forget sometimes that, hey, I'm going to definitely make a big mistake here, but I'll get the lesson.
mm,
So asking for help, admitting that it's tough, for me, Greg, at least, has been really good,
yeah.
has been so helpful.
Yeah. 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 Me too. I mean, I don't know where I'd be without all the coaching I've had. So, and I love what you said, um, and I'm touched by how you're modeling for your daughter. exactly like you're putting your money where your mouth is. You're doing exactly what you believe in. So I love that. And yeah, the my kids are now 21 and 19, and I mean, when they were thinking back to when they were five, seems like yesterday. Like the next 20 years goes by just as fast as the last 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you've already shared so much great advice, but I'll wrap up with this question, which is if there was one thing you'd want people to know or take away from this conversation, what would that one thing be?
Ah, what a great question. Love your fears.
Mm,
Use them as an amazing guide because they're messages, Greg. They're here for a reason. They're not here just because. They're not here to harm you in any way. They're here to tell you what you need to change next, which is really scary.
mm,
Who likes change? No one. We have this tendency to just resist change completely because it's a lot of fear of the unknown. Even if we're in pain right now, at least we know how it feels,
mm,
right? It's something that I know how to deal with. Even if it's happiness that comes after this change, maybe I'll be overwhelmed, I'll be confused. So love your fears. Treat them as amazing messages, messengers that come to tell you that something needs to be taken care of. You need to look at a situation, a person, a conflict, an emotion from a different perspective. Again, a small summary of what we discussed is to ask yourself why so that you can go to the bottom of the problem. Why am I afraid? So
mm,
simple. Use a pen and a piece of paper. 5 minutes a day, not more. You'll get the clarity that you need.
mm,
And then when you're about to make a mistake, and let's be honest, we are always going to make mistakes. It's truly life at its finest.
yeah,
We never learn when things go great, unfortunately,
yeah,
right? So just ask yourself, what am I learning from this? And a whole new realm of opportunities and solutions will just invade your space. You become a different person just looking at everything, at fear, from a whole new perspective.
mm.
So love your fears.
I love that. And when you talk about mistakes, my favorite presuppositions from NLP is there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. So,
Love it.
in the realm of mistakes, it's like bring them on. Like there's so much to learn
Exactly.
from making mistakes. If our listeners are interested in learning more about the work that you do or getting a hold of your ebook, where's the best place for them to find you?
Thank you, Greg. I'm Roxana Popet, Popet, everywhere on social media. And on my website, roxanapopet.com, they'll have some amazing free guides to play with every time they feel that something's off when they want to make a choice and they're stressed or fearful.
Mm, wonderful. Thanks so much for joining me today. I've really enjoyed this conversation and so glad you agreed to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. It's been a pleasure, amazing being in your wonderful presence and great questions. Thank you so much. Such a
Thank you.
privilege.
All right. We'll see you again soon.
See
Bye bye.
you. Bye.